You all may not know this, but you can have maximum red filter. Yo, YouTuber friendly. We are back in Dead Cells with once again another you ain't never seen a build like this kind of video. We're gonna be playing tactics this go round, something that we like to go sequentially in order, or else I'd be playing essentially the same things over and over again. Our first tube has access to meat skewer and the throwing knife. Funny enough, meat skewer used to be part purple at the same time. I think the reason why was it had like movement tied to it. So the devs decided that this is a tactical type of weapon, so works both on brutality and tactics, but not anymore. So if we plan to go tactics today, we will have to swap into something at some point. Now, typically the way I try to think about this, I don't really have specific builds in mind whenever I try to, cook a build in Dead Cells. I really let the game dictate what we're gonna end up taking. Starting off with throwing knife meat skewer makes me think a couple of different ideas. There's things like Ripper, where maybe you would throw the throwing knife and then like dash through and get the Ripper proc on the meat skewer. This could maybe be networking, where you just spam the throwing knife to hit two things and then start sliding through them. For the most part, I'm gonna just go. And really, if a certain weapon shows up, that may determine what I end up playing in the long run. But no matter what, we know for a fact it's gonna be tactics. Castle outskirts? Did Dead Cells ever change the meme system where you don't want to stack the same color too early in order to trick the game and to give you better scrolls in the long run? I mean, I don't think anything like that has been fixed, so to speak, but it's not guaranteed it's gonna work in your favor anyway. I think it just helps some of the odds. Like a speedrunner, for example, wouldn't put their stats into a different stat to try to manipulate the system, because you might lose a world record run because it didn't work in your favor, right? This is gonna be trash. 156 damage. Meat skewer does 600 damage, probably divided by 3, so it does 300 damage. I guess technically Ripper does like half the damage of a non-crit meat skewer hit. Highly doubt that's the case though, but we'll see. Wow. So one single hit does 119. Ripper, I didn't see the number. 180. Oh, we know the number. It's 165. So technically it does more damage than the first hit of meat skewer. It doesn't mean that's something you should invest in though. I guess when you think about gameplay wise, could I just do this instead of like doing this part? Maybe a better melee weapon would help here? Call it a skill issue, but if I don't perfect the first two areas in Dead Cells, I just restart. The way I see it is that I could get a legendary in the first two areas. Could be one of the best legendaries in the game. So if I'm like sucking by area 3, then okay, maybe we'll think about something, but usually I will try to keep going. More tactics. That Ripper. By the way, they have Ripper in the Dead Cells collaboration in Blaze Blue. It works the same. The only difference is that you could get networking and the game will actually like give you damage on the other monster when you rip out the arrows from the first one. It's like a potential synergy. They even put Wrecking Ball in Blaze Blue. Yeah, they knew what they were doing. Wrecking Ball is a DLC item. How in the world do we get Wrecking Ball before Toothpick in Blaze Blue? How much are we doing now? 206. It's broadsword, flint, wrecking ball. Symmetrical lance. I want to say that's it for survival. Not Nutcracker, they did flint instead. The flint in the game kind of functions the same way as Nutcracker would, where it's just crit on status effect. They just put it on flint. Here we find the leg hugger, something that I don't typically use even if it shows up, but bleeding causes poisoning is really not an affix that I ever pass by. Not a pet that I would normally use. But the way how this is sort of looking, like maybe you do actually do this. Not that it's gonna matter. I mean, it is kind of eaten, but like I have to really let it eat. Otherwise, I would just walk up to the monster and kill it myself. It's my biggest issue with leg hugger. At least with the owl. Owl could kill something without me even wanting it to attack. And then the kitty cat, Byaco, you can equip it and then just pop stuff with it. Should this monster have horizontal laser? Because if it's in the sky, it looks like it puts the laser... Wait, what? Wow. Holy crap. That thing was mad. No way that thing turned around. I think I would just use the health pot. Chat, we are using one of the worst possible mutations to scale for damage. Ripper, for all intents and purposes, does nothing. Just a way to get ammo back, even though there's many ways to get ammo back in this game. We want a fast weapon, and technically this is a lot faster, right? It does not shoot arrows, unfortunately. This, of course, will also work. I'm thinking Porcu-Pack Spartan Sandals does do a knockback. And I want to say that the damage that the monster is dealt is like % max HP true damage. So long as it hits a wall or something. Oh wow, poison turret damage. We're picking all the bad stuff. It doesn't matter if Porcu-Pack doesn't actually deal its maximum damage. 76? That's not terrible, actually. And I think we get the healing. We just have to put in 3 bullets, right? Roll through, it dies. This is gonna be so sick. The poison source. All right, let's go. Show him. I guess it doesn't always work. It may not always do good damage either. The cooldown is like ultra long for some reason. Wait, not this actually working. Now, you may say, V, this could have been literally anything. It would have been infinitely more useful. I hear you. I absolutely hear you, but sometimes fun is better than useful. And sometimes fun leads to better gameplay decisions. And of course, the next shop gives us a pretty nice surprise. Well, it's certainly a lot more bullets than the kunai can do. No way. So I'm not usually a big fan of playing Sonic Carbine at all. It is a 5 BC reward weapon, so this may be your first time even seeing it. But my big issue with it is A, it's a little bit of a wind-up before you start actually firing. And then B, I don't have any of this like crit damage that it can do on bosses. So usually whenever I take Sonic Carbine, it's with barbed tips. That way we load in a bunch of bullets, the damage is like a tick rate, and any bosses are just taking constant damage over time. However, with Ripper, can't really do that because I'm gonna rip the arrows out. Dracula's Castle? Oh no, we missed the rune! And I missed 4 monsters to get the V.60. I don't even know if there were 60 monsters on that map. I dare say it was literally just 56 monsters. Barb Tips is gonna be better. I think technically you want to go support. For safety, let's go what doesn't kill. Well, I always say that. Let's go with Fight for Your Life. So I always want to say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And there's already a mutation that's called that. This build is not chopped. I mean, would it have died to barbed tips? Maybe. I just don't want to stand still. I think that's my current issue with this. It was more entertaining throwing the kunai a couple times than rolling through, because then at least maintain some level of speed. Wow. Okay. Does Sonic Carbine even leave arrows stuck in the enemy for Ripper? Yes, it can run out of ammo. Funny enough, it doesn't pierce with a bullet. Instead, what happens is that you could look at the animation to it. That animation is almost like a laser, and the laser happens for every bullet you shoot. Once you run out of bullets, it no longer does the laser. For any bow that has shots pierce, the shots pierce mechanic is always a phantom bullet that goes through. So what actually happens is that you'll see almost like a melee weapon that has shoot arrows up and forward or shoot arrows backwards. It fires one of those. That is not a legitimate bullet. In fact, I may even say that Sonic Carbine just does the phantom bullets by default. I don't know that for sure, but I'd imagine it's either a laser beam or it does the phantom bullets. I think I see phantom bullets behind it, but I don't want to say that's literally what it is. Yeah, there's lots of cool little interactions in this game. Some of them have tooltips for it, some don't. There's a scenario where like not everything needs a tooltip, but anything that would make gameplay easier for the average player, I'd rather have a tooltip than not. I know some people are like, yo, leave it up to the community to figure this stuff out. Have them go to the wiki. That's what the wiki's for. Like, we wouldn't have a job at wiki.gg if they just told you everything. That's what the community's all about. I can't get poison damage. Wow, I got it. Poison and bleed. We probably don't need Fight for Your Life. We'll go support. Though Barb Tips is probably what I should be using, just to say that. I mean, okay. So we haven't seen Barb Tips in a while, but I don't ever use this while I'm running Ripper. Because it's anti-synergy, right? Why would you bother doing that? My hope is that for every instance where I can't rip out a bullet, I'm still doing damage some kind of way. We're heading into our first boss, which is Death. Death, not really a boss that I typically worry about unless I'm like completely melee. We do happen to have a ranged weapon in here. I can shoot an assault rifle, basically. And this fight is just a matter of not getting hit by these random sickles that pop up. Every other part of the fight, I actually don't mind. And funny enough, it almost seems as though the dodge roll with Spartan Sandals interrupts his attack sometimes. Now, I don't know if that's something that you should really count on, but it is actually something. Now, to be fair, do I know how many bullets are in the boss right now? I don't. Do I know how good Ripper's doing against the boss? I don't. I'm gonna assume that all the damage came from barb tips. We don't know if Ripper did anything there. We don't know if Porcupack with the Spartan Sandal did anything. Besides, it did reset his attack pattern. I did see that. Kinda decent. But yeah, this is a fairly long roguelike if you fully explore. They don't make you fully explore. In fact, there is a time door where like 15 minutes is the actual goal to get to the first boss. 25 minutes for the next one, I believe. I'll take it. It's honestly not much different than a regular owl, to be perfectly honest. Slumbering Sanctuary. Not really looking forward to this. 25 minutes on the timer, and that's with timer paused in some rooms and transitions. True that. True that. So the 15-minute is probably more like 20 minutes minimum, with a little bit of pausing. I messed up there. Get my 1% heal. Killing a lot of stuff for a map that's gonna have a curse on it. I don't think I have a choice, especially the cursed monsters. They really have to go. But yeah, I don't mind the like higher than average runtime in Dead Cells. I think a lot of games nowadays, roguelikes that is, are working on shorter runs, but then a lot of those are survivors games anyway. So in that case, it's like, all right, you have to have a run be less than 30 minutes. Because that's what every other survivors game did. In fact, it has to be 30 minutes on the dot, because that's what everyone else does. Ripper does not work for Owl. Correct. The Owl does not shoot bullets that get stuck in enemies. It does have the same, like, pierce mechanic, where the pierce is a phantom bullet, and that goes for all turrets, too. You prefer an hour max for roguelikes that you've played? I played plenty that go over that time. Yeah, you can see the blue arrow that comes out the backside of the demon. Somebody please do something. I don't have a preference. I enjoy full clearing biomes. If you can make it so that the run still has exploration to it, because that's probably like the main issue here, is that we have to explore the biome. If there was no exploration, it was just room to room to room, it wouldn't be this long. But then that's like a completely different game if there's no exploration. Like Hades, for example. Hades wouldn't have an exploration to it. So in that way, you get to save a lot of time. Some action roguelikes like Blaze Blue and Ovis Loop, that's a new one, have opted for like the room-to-room style of action roguelike. with very limited amount of platform traversal. Those aren't bad. I don't hate them. But I definitely do enjoy, like, going through a biome. You would think I would love Metroidvanias. I'd be playing Silk Song right now. With what I'm saying. A new Staffy would be nice. Flaming Trail Barnacle with poison damage. Wowee. The Leg Hugger does bonus the burning. There's the phaser we were talking about earlier, too. I think I should probably have this. Eventually, we probably want burning oil or something on the melee weapon. I feel like Hades is one of the too quick of a run. Most of your runs are 20 minutes, especially if you're on Fear Timer. I actually have only a few YouTube vids for Hades. And of those, only like 1 or 2 where someone said that the build sucks because the run was longer than like 20 minutes. And it's like, is that long because I'm talking a lot? I'm going through the thought process and stuff like that. I'm sure you all do the same thing when you play your games, but I'm gonna swap here. But when I stream, I just go slow. I find that to be the most entertaining way for me, at least. When I edit a video on YouTube, I try to keep it at like a certain pacing. But I don't go crazy with the edits. Another legendary Gilded Yumi. We already have that run. Surely we don't do it again. Very unlucky stuff here. Yeah, I killed a protector. That will not chase me up. One more. Nice. Why is Staffy AFK against cursed monsters? So there's one cursed monster that does not attack you, and none of the pets attack it back. That's the sore loser that's just walking around. There's other, like my turrets, for example. The turrets were actually going for the monsters. It may be a mechanic where the devs don't want you to just get a pet to circumvent the curse. I think that is what's gonna happen. Oh, wow. Good thing we chose... Well, it doesn't matter where we go. The bank is the same regardless. We're now entering the bank, which is actually the highest level of bank, the one that comes in alongside of the cavern. Here you can find items that are up to level 14, which is the most that you will ever see in Dead Cells, I believe. My expectation here is that we would full reset if we have to. Not that the build is awful, but we could kind of fine-tune, spend some of our money, take out the loan if we have to, in order to make something that's a little bit more flashier than what we're doing right now. But the first goal of the bank is to actually find the curse chest. I think that's probably the hardest part of the bank. Like, if you're gonna die, you're probably gonna die to the curse. So I like to go for that ASAP. It's always behind the red door, and then we can find out if we get something good from the bank's curse chest. Maw of the Deep Wild Tactics is fairly interesting. You could run support. Point Blank works. I wonder if Ripper works. It doesn't have ammo. The third attack is ranged and it does get stuck in a monster, but I don't think it's an arrow. But I think Ripper works with Boy's Axe, and Boy's Axe isn't an arrow either. I can't do it while cursed, I can say that much. But I may actually look into this. Welcome everybody, by the way. You could be doing anything. You could be watching some Arc Raiders. Any Arc Raiders in the chat? You could be watching some Mega Bonk. I'm sure we got some bonkers. All right, so this might be trash. Just to say that out loud. I am very curious to see what the DPS looks like. I hate Maw. Like, I already want to take this thing off. Eat. Wow, it misses. Now remember, I have tier lists up for Dead Cells. I have lots of lists that have Maw rock bottom. Or like C. I'll typically have Nutcracker above it. I'll have some other survival weapons above it. And every single time, someone says that I am giving Maw not enough credit. Maw is objectively better than the other stuff that I put above it. As soon as I get Maw, I'm losing HP. But I'm never gonna utilize the shark part. Right now it's just a glorified wrecking ball while tactics on the first swing. I guess a broadsword, right? It's just a broadsword. Is this a viewer build? This is not a viewer build. I don't think the viewer would have wanted to see any of this stuff all on one build. If it was a viewer build, V wouldn't be trashing it. You all know me very well. No, if it was the viewer's build, I only speak the highest regards for what the viewer asked me to use. They may not know better. It's a learning opportunity, right? I'm not here to make fun of anyone. I'm here to teach. Eat. I do not know if that's a Ripper proc because the monster's dead. Assume you don't really care. Wow, sick jump. I think he's playing 2x KO. For the most part, you don't care if it was a Ripper proc or not. I would assume we do not go Ripper with the shark at all. Maw is survival. We just happen to have tactics version of it, which is possibly the best version of it because you get to utilize support at full power. Not that low power support's bad, because low power support does a decent chunk of damage. And technically this works with point blank, because yeeting the shark is a ranged attack. Even networking should work. So all of that actually does function as tactics. I just feel like I get hit way more than I'm supposed to. Which is where I guess playing survival would come in. So we're looking for probably... I don't know if I attack fast enough for this to actually proc the shark. That would be super interesting if this works. It may be that it's a little bit too slow. No other way to test this. Staffy's gonna stay, but he'll probably get ditched for Tornado. But only if this works. It's not fast enough. I mean, it's a nice gap closer. Just to try to get the full combo. But if it was a little bit faster, I could actually get the Groot on the monster and crit. We have no dot. I mean, we have Shot Spears here and Poison. Maybe this is okay. Ooh, it's Scarecrow. We have Tornado. I could probably do this with Tornado. With the choice between Scarecrow and the Giant, I did decide to go to the Giant. I'm not saying that Giant's an easier fight, but trying to think about Phaser and Shark versus Scarecrow, never ever gonna be able to land those hits. There's a scenario where I could probably have shot it and then Sonic Carbine is the majority of the DPS. That's not terrible, but to be honest, I kind of want to see the Shark in action now. So that's why we're going to go to the Giant, which I assumed is the better option. Oh, and if you couldn't tell, we're here to do Sharknado. This is an Easter egg, if you want to call it, where Tornado, if you fire one single shark through it, that's the third hit of the combo, you get Sharknado. To be honest, I don't think it really does any damage at all in this fight, but it's certainly fun to look at, so that's also a main reason why we're here. My HP is already down by half. I don't really know what's wrong here. I will assume I just should be shooting it with Sonic Carbine, but we're here for Shark, right? You've seen Sonic Carbine a million times. Tell me the last time that we've played Shark hasn't really happened. So at least you get a little bit of an added benefit of seeing something for the first time. I dare say this isn't awful. I have had worse. I mean, you would imagine that any build that can do this hitless has to be better than what we did just now, but it's not nothing, okay? Just cost me a health pot because of the phaser. Wait, he kind of cooking though? I don't know about that. You know what? I am gonna take Killer Instinct. Oh, I should have reset before we did that anyway. So, like I said, you could point blank. Ranger's gear does not work here. Like, it has to be an actual ranged weapon. Oh, I never used the Sonic Carbine for the poison proc. So that was a mistake. Killer Instinct just to get back the phaser sooner. This is gonna be so bad. Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now we got something going on, chat. Sheesh. The Guar build. Though I don't know if people... Is Guar like Boomer at this point? What's the name of the shark character from Zenless Zone Zero? Maybe that's the one that people know nowadays. Wow, it's dying to launch a grenade. Before the shark even hits it. Launch a grenade does 3,000 damage, but it's being pumped by phaser. So it's doing like 20,000 damage. Jeff the land shark build? No. Now you've gone too far. 35,000. How'd that not reach? Would I... Legendary? Legendary R&B actually utilizes point blank. That's super interesting. You ain't never seen a build like this. Probably you should not see builds like this. Imagine using that with phaser and open wounds. No way. Boomer build. For some folks, it's not always about finding like this next, you've never seen a build like this before. Sometimes they're more interested in like, show me a favorite build. Show me a build that you know is a tried and true. Show me a bread and butter build. And sometimes I don't really do that a lot. I'll just play whatever seems like the most interesting thing at the time. But you're right, a B&B in Dead Cells, that would be Sadist Stiletto with open wounds. Yeah, so I have to be careful about just posting, you know, this build stops all bosses from attacking. Now, is that gonna happen in this? I don't know. What I will say is that Sharknado has maybe never been used against Dracula. This could be a world first. What do I even use here? I fear there's literally nothing, because I highly doubt I'll ever get this crit. I don't think it's possible on Dracula. No way. Oh, wow. B, you're cooking something. I don't think it's food. It's a lot of stuff from every direction. Survival. I mean, I guess we got rid of most of the brutality stuff, but there's, you know, phaser in there. Some tactics, but not really the, you know, most popular tactics things of all time. You know, it's just, there's stuff, right? Sometimes it's not about playing the tried and true bread and butters. Sometimes we gotta make our own bread with our own flour and our own baking soda and whatever else goes in bread. Oh my god, was I stuck? I can't Sharknado. There's like no time. Well. I got it! It's so slow! Wait, he got canceled out of it. Maybe because of Tornado. Bruh. He died to the bomb. This is awful. I can't even get the tornado off even if I wanted to. I can't cancel out of the Maw attack and get freaking command grabbed. Like, this would be the perfect setup for tornado. It didn't work because he got stuck. Bruh. Oh wow, I made it. It's beyond over. It's like by the time I actually get off a Sharknado, it's too late. Phaser doesn't always work, it seems. This is the longest I've ever been in this part of the fight. I'm not upset. This is performing about as much as I would expect it to. Anything more than this would have been honestly asking for a lot. Why is the tornado sitting in one place? There is no way that is a real and legitimate skill. Why is it not moving? Someone answer me that. I'm getting distracted by a gnat flying around me. Yo, we got our first Sharknado that was legitimate damage. Can't crit because he can't be snared. Okay. Hold. I couldn't jump because I was locked out. No way. So let's change to the other weapon and see what the difference is. Is the shark the problem? Maybe it's a skill issue. It may also be, well, okay, V, Dead Cells is a game where you would take the correct weapon to the correct encounter. You should know after all these years that Sharknado, not the best maneuver against Dracula. Everyone knows that. You can ask Susie. Susie knows it. Oh, wow, that hit me. Everyone knows you gotta take the R&B. Oh! I didn't want to move. Yeah, Dracula, final phase Dracula, cannot be rooted, cannot be frozen. I don't believe he can be slowed. So you lose a good chunk of DPS on the shark. I'm actually curious if the shark even bleeds him, because an additional effect of the shark is that the shark on the monster causes it to bleed. But it would be very interesting if monsters do not bleed unless they are rooted. And I don't know, I would have to go back to the footage and look at it. So, okay. Biome, all of that, incredibly fun, right? But once you get to the boss, maybe even the giant wasn't all that impressive, right? That would have been a very good setup where the Sharknado is blowing up the fist, is blowing up the eyeball. I feel like it wasn't even that much damage. Hand the King, maybe that would have been a little bit more viable. Hand does get snared, so maybe we could get better crits that way. I just didn't want to do spoiler. I didn't want to take that long. Dracula compared to Queen? I think Queen would have just danced around me. Also, their servants I would have to run through. So chances are, all of it would have been bad. All right, thanks for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I like to get you all the best content that I can. If you want to take a moment, like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, ring the bell notifications so you can get those. You could also consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. All of those are links which are in the description. Just scroll down and you'll see them. Either way, thanks for joining in, and I'll catch you on the next video.